brain, communication, in space. So it's really the combination of factors, the convergence, that determines success in the world of exponentials. My company is Exponentials because we focus on that convergence only where it makes business use case for the populations that we work with. But it's really understanding the convergence that is separating big tech companies such as Facebook and Amazon and Google from the rest of the world, because when you combine AI, robotics, e-commerce, video, and other technologies in the right ways, that's when you make a lot of money. I mean, that's why YouTube is exploding, because they have the right algorithms, TikTok, cloud computing. If you look at anything that's, genomics, CRISPR, where they can basically turn your genes, well, your genes are software, but basically they can, alter your genes like they would alter software. It's really at the convergence. That's why my 19th book that I'm writing now is entitled Exponentials, Success in the World of Convergence, because it's really understanding how these convergences happen. So the reason I titled this Brain Communication in Space is because space is an exponential technology. I mean, we've always been held to the planet Earth, but that is forever going to change. There's going to be like before space and after space. I mean, going to the moon was just a precursor. In a couple hundred years, or however long it takes, we're going to have colonized the entire solar system and start exploring beyond that. It's much more advanced. It's really reaching a tipping point now, because once we have colonies on Mars and the moon, it'll be like way stations of the asteroids, and self-replicating robots that can help us develop the infrastructure of space. I mean, I think the companies that really focus on the infrastructure of space are going to be like, Bill Gates said that an AI company is going to be the next, produce the first trillionaire. And it's not only AI companies that are in the right areas, because AI is just a tool, and like any tool, it's how you use it. So I think AI, I think AI applied to space, and especially space infrastructure, just like how in the 1800s, the gold rush, some people struck it rich with gold, but more people struck it rich with, pickaxes and shovels. It's going to be the same thing in space. Some people are going to strike it rich on the asteroids, on the mining, but more people are going to, because space is so vast that the infrastructure has to be vast. I mean, you have to, I've had a lot of podcasts on this, and I'm actually exploring this, starting to commercially. You have to, in the future, you have to have incredible infrastructure in space to make it viable. I mean, you have to have telecommunications, like they're creating the internet for space, and Elon Musk, his Starlink system, he'll probably deploy that around other planets. He'll employ Tesla in energy storage on other planets for transportation, and just like how Starship can travel anywhere on Earth in 30 minutes or 60 minutes, we'll be hopping between planets as well. So instead of like Delta saying, local from Chicago to Los Angeles, it'll be local, from the asteroid belt to Titan, or from Titan to Pluto or whatever. Those will be the local stops. So brain communication in space, I saw a video today with a brilliant Mika Kuku, and he was talking about the future and saying that the big advances really have to do with, mental communication, that the internet is going to become the brain net, that we're going to be communicating our emotions, our thoughts. I mean, already Stephen Hawking was able to type just by thinking, and thought control is really an area you should be studying if you want to become wealthy and knowledgeable, because it's always reducing friction. Like, keyboards were great for a long time, and now voice is replacing typing because voice is less friction. And then thinking is going to replace voice because it's easier to think than it is to speak. And we're going to live in a thought-controlled world. That's why I have a video entitled Life at the Speed of Thought. Like if you think through what the ramifications are when you think. So if we're traveling around the cosmos, and then as we're traveling and as we're colonizing, we're communicating, by our thoughts, by telepathy. We're sharing our emotions. We have avatars in space. Elon Musk Neuralink. So, there'll be a lot of other converging technologies. There'll be robotics. There'll be nanotechnology. There'll be quite a few others. There'll be quantum computing. But if you want to think in a beginning way about the convergence and the future of convergence, think about what it'll be like when we're a spacefaring colonization species and when our communications in space are done by telepathy and other forms of brain communication.